back your homes, or restore your dead to life.
But perhaps I can give you justice in the name of our king.
Hey everyone, so Game of Thrones takes place in a fictional fantasy land called the Known World. It consists of two major land masses, Westeros and Essos, along with some other bodies of land less traveled and not currently mapped out. On the other side of HBO, we have the new sci-fi series Westworld, which revolves around an old Western adult theme park that features robotic hosts that high-paying guests can interact with. If you haven't had a chance to check out the first season, go to HBO Now's website and get a free trial, so you can marathon it. Anyway, one of the popular topics in recent weeks has been a possible Westworld and Game of Thrones crossover. It was brought to life by none other than the creator and author of the Ice and Fire series, George R.R. Martin. Martin reportedly pitched the idea of a Westeros narrative inside Westworld's theme park to the showrunners of the brand new hit series. It makes sense. Game of Thrones is a straight-up fantasy. The creators of the show are not trying to pass off the known world as a real place that thrived in the past. It has dragons, White Walkers, and direwolves nearly the size of horses. They aren't trying to fool the audience into believing its authenticity when it comes to a real-world location. But the impossible is possible in Westworld. While the main narrative we see in Season 1 is a traditional Western frontier, there is capabilities to produce just about anything, and the narratives are changed quite regularly. That's why we see flashbacks of robotic hosts experiencing memories from their past lives as different characters in a different story. Put simply, transplanting a paying customer into a fantasy world of their dreams can be a lucrative deal, one that would continue to put Westworld on the map. So it does make sense why George R.R. Martin would tell Westworld's creators about the possible crossover. In response, Westworld co-creator Jonathan Nolan mentioned that while Westeros and Essos could be another narrative in Westworld's portfolio, he would like to imagine the living beings in Game of Thrones as real, and not just as robotic flying machines acting as real-life dragons. As a huge fantasy nerd, I'm glad to hear that, because I agree. The last thing I want to be true is that people like Rhaegar Targaryen and Ned Stark are just artificial intelligence that can be rebooted whenever necessary. Just imagine in the Game of Thrones final season, one of the major characters finds a hidden elevator somewhere in the wild that descends into a cold storage area where the naked bodies of all the dead characters from previous seasons are residing. That would be a total brain meltdown if you ask me. But just thinking about what it would all involve if the crossover did play out, I wonder if guests would enter the world from a random starting point, whether it's Westeros, Essos, or an island surrounding the two. And from there they had to eventually choose a person to support for the Iron Throne. Like if guests were dropped off during the build-up to the War of the Five Kings, and they have to decide who they're going to ally with. I would support Robb Stark for sure, because I believe the North is and will always be the coolest region in the realm. Plus I wouldn't want to be on the opposing side of Grey Wind, Robb's direwolf. Oh, and since in Westworld you forge your own experience while in the park, I could imagine the guests who manage to make it to Castle Black have quite a different experience than those guests who end up following Tyrion to brothels and less than peaceful dinners with his loving sister and father. Other than that, the crossover would definitely come as a shock to almost every fan. To get to the end of such an epic fantasy and realizing that it was all a storyline paid for to adventure through, while all of the legendary characters we've read about and watched are nothing more than highly intelligent AI. I wouldn't know what to think. Let me know your thoughts, and if you would be happy or upset if the crossover did happen at some point. As always, have a great day, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.